Welcome, everybody. It's Saturday. It's Welcome to the Thresholds of Reality, the podcast where we talk about the fringes of things, the paranormal, the Bigfoot, everything. And right now, we've got an awesome group of people to talk about their ghost hunting and investigation experiences. Would you guys like to introduce yourselves?
So we're Cahal Crew Paranormal. My name's Misty.
My name's Marianne.
I'm Jenna.
And they are a local group here in Arizona that likes to do
Yes.
investigations. And they came, we've got some pretty cool stuff going. So strap in. And
I'm buckled all the way in.
All right, Matt's buckled all the way in. Strap in. Of the unknown. Welcome. It's great to have you guys here. My first question to everybody is, what got you guys into the paranormal?
Well, each one of us has our own reason. So, Marianne, you want to start?
Yeah, I actually was attacked. So that's kind of
really?
what brought us to where we are today. We lived in a haunted apartment and we had a lot of paranormal activity happen. And we actually had a paranormal group come to our apartment and said that we lived on a hokum mound. And where my bedroom, where a bedroom is, where our bed is, it was a portal. So constantly every night I was getting touched, and I had told Misty, I'm like, babe, like I'm getting touched, like something's going on, like I don't know what's happening. And so we switched sides, and at that time we had a live feed going 24/7 in our room. So when we were at work, people would send us pictures of activity in our bedroom. And so I laid on Misty's side of the bed, and as one of the entities was coming towards me, a psychic took a picture and sent it to us, and you could see the torso of his body leaving me once he attacked me.
Wow.
So what had happened, yeah, I was like crying. I like sat up, I was still sleeping, and I was crying, and Misty was shaking me, and she's like, babe, like wake up. And I started crying, and I woke up, and I said, somebody tried to enter my body. And so right then that psychic sent us a picture of the entity leaving from my side of the bed where I was and going like back into the portal.
Was this
Oh, wow.
here in Arizona, or was this?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it
So-
was at an apartment complex called South Creek in Phoenix. It's like 48th and Baseline.
So so you had a team there, like watching while you guys just like did your normal routine, or it was like as it was touching you, like did you know when they took the picture, or how did that all work?
So it was weird because we were sleeping, and as I was being attacked, there was people that was watching the feed. So they weren't watching me being attacked, but they could see the entity. It looked into the camera, and literally you could see like one white eye. The rest of him is black. He walked past the camera onto my side, attacked me, and then walked back around, and you could see his torso, like the side of his body, and even his fingers and stuff leaving.
Oh, wow. I
Hmm.
used to have a in my parents' house growing up. There was something in our shower, and I would get out of my shower and I would be covered in scratches.
Oh,
So I know what it's
wow.
like. I know that feeling of being like attacked, and it's not a good feeling. So
Right.
so did you get any answers from it? Like did you, or is that as far as you got? Was just a picture, and you just know what's going on? And
So with us, when we had the paranormal group come out, they told us that in the portal they were taking pictures and kind of saging and try to get rid of it. So we weren't doing the paranormal investigations at that time. That's before we got started. And they said literally in one picture they showed us it had 60 different entities. And so of course
Wow.
I was terrified and I didn't want anything to do with it, but it just spiked Misty's interest, and she started watching all these shows and she was all about it. And I was having night terrors, and I was like screaming every night, waking up crying, and I was just like in a bad place for like a year before we started actually doing this.
So it was an apartment complex. Did you did any of your neighbors ever like disclose like that they were having like experiences as well?
So there was a little girl at the complex at the beginning of the complex where we lived that was burned there. So she died in the complex. And the paranormal group said they had been there before for another family that lives in the same complex as us. It had activity. But we personally didn't go and talk to people about it. We tried to tell our landlords and stuff, and they just thought that we were crazy. We couldn't even get out of our lease.
Because my wife and I lived in an apartment complex that was very active and very same thing. We wanted to get out of our lease because it was so crazy. But that's how we
Yeah.
actually met our neighbors. Is our neighbors were standing outside, pale white, scared to death,
Oh.
and we were like, and we didn't know them at the time, and we were like, "Everything okay? Is there?" And they were like, "You wouldn't believe us if you told us." And I was like, "Trust me, you can run it by us. We're not going to think anything." And they were like, and they described this. I've talked about this podcast before, but there was these few different paranormal entities that were in our house, and one would like walk up and down the hall and scream and yell at you, and like our house was quiet that night. We walked out the next day, and that's when we seen them. We talked to them. They're like, it's hard to describe, and I was like, let me guess. There was a guy pacing up and down the hallway screaming at you, huh? And they were like, how'd you know? I said, because our apartment was quiet.
The same guy just went to your house to visit.
And that's when we met like everybody down the line, just because they would just hop from apartment to apartment.
Wow, they were
crazy.
busy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So Misty, what got you? So that's what got Misty into the paranormal then.
Well, I had an interest since I was a kid, actually. I saw my first ghost when I was in preschool. It was my great-grandfather. He died and came to me in the middle of the night one night. It terrified me. But after that, as a child, I was going to the school library and checking on anything and everything that they had that involved the paranormal.
And then once that happened, that just ramped it up.
Yeah, no, it definitely did.
And
When we were in that apartment, I was homesick one day. And I was home by myself, and I was laying in the recliner in the living room. And all of a sudden, I hear this big booming voice yell, "Hey!" like a drill sergeant in the army. And I jumped up, stood at attention, because I was freaking out. And I looked around, and I'm like, there's nobody else here.
Yeah, that's a scary one. We have a couple ghosts that are in our house that we live in now, and we're pretty used to them. But that's what happens to my wife is they're a little more active with her lately. It seems like one lunged at her, and like
oh no,
it was So it's weird having them, being disruptive to you. And then what got you into the paranormal?
So I grew up in Utah, and I grew up near a place that was featured on Ghost Adventures. It was called Kay's Cross. And in high school, that was like the place to go if you wanted to get scared. Everyone was scared to go there. And so I was always interested in it because of that. And then one of my good friends in high school died. She actually committed suicide. And one night I was laying in bed asleep, and I sensed something at the foot of my bed. And I was terrified. I did not want to open my eyes. I was convinced the devil was at the foot of my bed and something bad was going to happen if I opened my eyes. And so I never did. And I just laid there real still and was just hoping it would leave. And it did. But then, it took me a very long time before I put two and two together that I believe that was my best friend that was coming to me after she had passed. And if I'd only not been so scared and opened my eyes, I probably would have actually seen her, but I was so scared. And then as an adult, I ended up seeing Ghost Adventures, and I was like, oh my gosh, people go do this. They go talk to ghosts. They go look for ghosts. I was like, that's so cool. So I looked online, and I checked around and I found a team, and I was like, oh, cool. So yeah, I joined my first team at that point.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, what made you guys decide to make your own paranormal group? Like, what was the actual? You're like, you know what? We need to make this into something. We need to help others. We need to figure out what's going on. We need to get answers. What was the final straw? What did you just decide? We're just going to do this.
Well, initially it started out as Marianne and I and our two daughters, Kyla and Vivian. And the kids are grown now and out of the house. And we met Jenna.
Hey, Pam.
Hi, Pam.
Hi, Pam. We met Jenna through another group on Facebook, and we started going out and doing investigations with her. So we just kind of all teamed up and said, hey, let's do this.
So, what your first ghost hunt, first investigation, I should say, what was that like? Where did you do your first investigation, and what was it like? Like, I'm sure there was a lot of growing pains and so forth.
For us three, we didn't really have growing pains, I don't think.
No.
We
Yeah,
just immediately clicked.
Yeah, mine, it was just all about like validation. Because with me, when that happened to me, I was like, oh, I'm crazy. Like, I'm just, seeing things, I'm just hearing things. So going out and helping other people doing residential investigations was all about validation, giving them that validation that, yes, I see it too. You're not crazy. You're not alone. We're here to help you. And that was my biggest thing going into this, is I wanted them to feel that they're not alone in this. Because when that group came to our house, I all of a sudden was like, I'm not crazy. Like, somebody else sees that too. And that's what I wanted to do for others.
So what was so the first time, was it with like a family that needed help and they reached out to you guys, or?
We went to the washroom first.
Oh, okay.
Or what was it like? I should rephrase that. So what was your first residential where there was somebody that like needed help? Like, what was the circumstances of that? Because that's so much better that like interesting that like somebody reaches out to you.
Oh, it was the trailer?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, where I got the entity.
Yeah.
Okay, so
She
then
had all
talk
the
about
dolls.
that one.
Wasn't she the one that had all the dolls?
Yeah, she had all the dolls. Yeah.
Go ahead.
So no, that one was a good residential one, because I actually got a picture with my camera of an entity. I was taking pictures in the room. And it's funny because a lot of people are, well, if you see something, you're going to get scared. And actually, when I saw the picture that I took a picture of something, I was really excited. I wasn't scared. Our daughter went with us, and she had a friend too, and she ended up getting scratched. And then I got that picture, and we're very calm. We're very respectful, and we're kind to them. We don't try to be mean. And that's like the biggest thing I think going in, is we don't try to, provoke them to be mean or to like scratch us, or we just want to find answers for our customers. Why are you still here? Do you have a message for them? Is there any way that we can help you? And we just try to be as kind, as compassionate as we possibly can be on these residential investigations.
So what was going on that they'd reached out to you? What was it? Just something that was scaring them, or was it like something a little more malicious, or just?
Oh, was it?
Yeah, her husband had died in the room. And so after he passed away, there was just...
Yeah, they were having activity. I post ads on Craigslist for us to try and find people that need help. So that's how the majority of these people get in contact with us, is through the Craigslist ads.
So they just do you guys do them at night, during the day, or just it doesn't matter? Or
we usually do them Saturday nights because everybody's off.
Mm-hmm.
And when we do it at night, it's a lot quieter. Things just aren't so chaotic and loud and everything. So it seems to work out better at night for us anyway.
Do you guys do anything to so that nothing follows you home? Is there any kind of thing that you do, or has anything followed you home ever, or anything?
Not yet. No, we all wear protection crystals.
Yeah, we all wear our crystals. I call them the ghost condoms. We wear the crystals for protection, and We just when we leave, we tell them, you have to stay here. You can't follow us.
Yeah.
We have saged ourselves on a couple of occasions.
Yep.
But not every time.
So what is the ghost condom? What kind of condom is it? Because I'm not going to call it a crystal anymore. It's a ghost.
The best crystal is like the black tourmaline.
Uh-huh.
That protects you from the negative ones. But it's also kind of a preference of what you feel most connected to and what protects you. Like I'm really a fan of selenite. It helps psychic. It helps with your cleansing. It's kind of an overall one, and I just really like that one.
So is that like it's like a stone, like a?
Yeah, they're like pendants, or you can just get the stone and put it in your pocket. I usually wear one as a necklace, but you can have a bracelet, or you can just carry the stone in your pocket.
I've always wanted to get the supernatural tattoo so nothing happens to me.
Right? That's a good idea. Then you never forget to take it with
you. You got any questions for him, Matt, so far?
Yeah, well, so if in your experience when you're in there being attacked by this thing and this thing's scratching you, like what made you want to keep investigating it more? To me that would be like a deterrent. Like, is it just that adrenaline rush you get, or just the wanting to know what's going on? I mean, kind of what was that mindset for you to just keep driving in there and being like, oh, I want to figure this out?
Yeah. See, our daughter, when she got scratched, she gets scared. Like the next time to go, she's like, I don't want to go. Every time I go with you guys, I get scratched. So she gets really scared and doesn't want to go. She's only 19. So at the time she was 18. And so it's hard for her. So of course, we have to calm her down and say, okay, go ahead and like step out, and you guys, don't have to be in here, this kind of stuff. But of course, we're professionals and we're here to, find out what's going on for our customers. So we're like, you can be out there and we'll just finish up, because that's what we're there to do, is to give you some kind of validation, to let you know what's here, maybe why they're here, if you want them gone, that kind of thing. So we continue doing, what we were there for. But we did consider our daughter's feelings and said, hey, go ahead and go outside and kind of just relax, and we'll just take it from here.
Well, I think when that happened to your apartment, though, you didn't want anything to do with it.
No, not for the first year.
For a long time.
To help get you into that, right?
Yeah, I'm kind of the driving force behind it.
I know, like our haunted apartment, my wife and I, we couldn't wait to get out of there. And it's not like it was a brand new thing for us. Like I was saying, like my parents' house had activity in it, and it was something that I was used to. But these ghosts in there were so, they were so, like, all of them were, except one, were still also kind of malicious.
Oh.
Like I said, the one used to walk up and down our hallway and scream, "Shut the fucking lights off! Shut the lights off!" And all night long. And then there's another one that was downstairs. Like my sister and my brother-in-law were there, and like we were up having drinks, having a good time hanging out, and they stayed the night. And we got up in the morning, they were gone, and we were like, "What?" I called them, like, "Hey, where is it?" They're like, "Yeah, that ghost told us to get the F out of there, so we obliged." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And they're like, "Yeah, it was about this far from my face, screaming at me to, get the F out of here." And it was just so constant. We just, when we had, our daughter was like 6 months old at the time, and there was a little girl that was like 6 years old that we could hear talking to her through the baby monitor. And she would talk, and then how when babies are like young, they do that blah, 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 kind of talk. So and she would talk back, and then the girl would answer, and the girl would say something, and then my daughter would talk back, and we heard her teaching her how to climb out of the crib.
Oh wow!
Climb out of the crib, and we were just like, "No more baby monitors! No more baby monitors! We're done with those," So when we finally were like, "All right, we can get out of here," we like ran.
Yeah.
And now it's condemned. It's a condemned building now.
Wow.
So
crazy. Yeah, living there is different when it's 24/7. Like when I lived there, it was hard because our daughters too would talk to the spirits. Like our daughter ate pizza one day, I remember, and she was drinking her sippy cup and she was looking around talking to something. And I'm like, Vivi, like, what are you talking? Who are you talking to? And she's like, oh, the little girl's talking to me. She wants some of my pizza. And then they'd be in the bathtub, and all of a sudden, Kyla's like, stop calling Vivian's name. Like, we're in the bathtub. What are you guys doing? And we're like, we're not calling Vivian's name. And she's like, yes, you guys are. Like, I keep on hearing you yell her name. And I'm like, no, sweetie, it's not us. So they did communicate with our daughters.
We had an experience like that too, where our daughter was sitting there in a house, and she was like, Papa's talking to me. And that was my wife's grandpa that had died way before, like when she was like 15.
Oh, wow.
So our daughter had never even met him. So at least like that was like an experience where it was like, at least it was somebody nice and familiar. But
Right.
you have a picture here that you wanted to share. So this is from you guys' first investigation.
That's the one that I had caught. Oh, I'm on my phone. So I was literally just taking pictures in the room. Nobody was in there at all. But the young lady had said that her husband's stuff was in that room. So when I was taking a picture and kind of going back through them to see if I caught anything, that's what I had caught on my phone.
So it's this shadow figure right here.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
Now, is this how they usually appear to you when you see them? I know, like, I work with a woman who does this kind of stuff, and she showed a picture to me at work the other day of they were investigating a hospital, and she took it in like one of those hallway mirrors, and
Oh,
you
wow.
see her in the mirror, and then her husband, and then in the back there's another figure, and like she said there was no one else back there, but plain as day, she had a tan sweatshirt on with a pair of blue jeans, and she said no, that person was not there when the picture was taken.
Right.
So
Yeah, there was nobody in the room. It was just an empty room. The stuff was in there, but no people were in there.
So did you notice that instantly, or did you see that after you were reviewing all of your guys' evidence?
It was while we were there. I was going through my phone to see if I caught anything. And I had told them while I was there, I was like, babe, like, Jenna, look what I caught. And I was showing the homeowner and stuff. And she's like, that's my husband. It looks just like my husband.
I mean, I get like at least it was her husband. Like at least it was like out of all the spirits and anything I've seen, I've never seen like a relative. Like I would prefer that over these random people that show up. At least I know
Right.
it's, hey, it's so and so. How are you, or whatever the case may be. So
Most definitely.
yeah.
Do you feel like in an instance like that it's a fluke I shouldn't say fluke, but that it's a fluke that the camera's catching it, or do you think that's like an instance where the spirit or entity wants to be seen?
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I think it wanted to be seen. It wanted his wife to know that he was there. That's what I believe.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
How about you, Jenna?
In that instance, yeah, I agree. I think a lot of times though, it can be just a fluke.
Mm-hmm.
It depends. But that time, yeah, I think it was wanting that.
Yeah, because literally all we were doing was talking about him and focusing the energy on him and, what he meant to her and about him being sick, the last days, of his life and stuff. And so he was very present. Like we felt him there. And he would say things in the EVPs. And I don't know why he scratched my daughter, but I didn't feel like he was a negative entity at all. But she does get scratched. It seems like every place we went, she's got scratched. So it's very unfortunate.
Do you think maybe that the scratching is an instance of confusion? Like I understand, like it's been explained that they're like there because they're not crossing over for some reason, and he's trying to reach out, and then it's instant confusion of like, why are you here? Why can't I touch you? Why can't I do this? It's like
Maybe.
on the
they're
I
trying
was
to reach
taking
out.
as a sign of like of attention. I've got something that I want to say. I'm trying to get you to focus on me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you seem to be the presence that can get that that attention. That's how I've always kind of looked at it. But that's just me.
Good way to look
like
at it. Yeah.
Yep.
in movies you see that trope of like when a spirit tries to touch someone, their hand just goes right through them. Like that's what I'm wondering, is if maybe the scratch is him trying to reach out and
Yep.
it going through and leaving a mark instead of actually making contact.
Yeah.
Yeah, just unintentional. They're not
Yeah.
trying to hurt you, but they're like, hey.
In all honesty, we have not come across anything that has been negative,
I don't feel
like demonic
Not
negative
in
is what I'm
residential.
talking about. Not any of these residential investigations that we've done have we come across anything like that. We had a pretty interesting investigation. What was it, Casa Grande?
Oh, that was a good
yeah,
one.
yeah, it
Really
was.
good one.
I'm not going to name the lady because I'm friends with her on Facebook, but I don't know if she'd want me
Yeah.
to name her.
No,
But
no, that's totally
so
understandable.
she had some issues with some Native American spirits out there on her land. And so during the investigation, we actually played some Native American music, and all of our devices just started going crazy after that. And it just opened up the lines of communication for us. And now what she does is she plays Native American music for them, and she sets out offerings of different kinds of food for them, and they are cohabitating right now.
That's nice because I mean, God, that has to be a relief. You found a way to not make it a horrible, scary experience. You've made it that it's just an easy way to make it part of your life.
Yeah.
She did not want her place saged. She didn't want it to go. She just wanted to know that it was there and if it wanted anything, and she just mostly wanted validation.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, she was
Validation.
very happy to find out that that's what she thought it was. It was what she thought it was, and that they could coexist. So that really worked out well.
Yeah.
See, like I was saying, there's at least 3 spirits that are in my house, and honestly, I'm nervous to reach out to find out what they actually want because, like, you know what I mean. And so, like, as a custom, everyone in our house, we're just kind of used to it, and we just kind of let them do their thing. We don't bother them. We don't. If they move stuff around, that's fine. If they open and close the doors, it's fine. We kind of just let them just be. Like, I've
Yeah.
never really. I don't really ask out. I really never ask, what do you want? I figured if the most they're doing is opening, closing doors and moving stuff around, I do get a little, I swear that they like to hide my watch. Because my watch will be sitting there plain as day, just sitting on my nightstand. Going to be gone for like 2 weeks. And all of a sudden it's
Like
just
reappears.
on the bed. You know what I mean? Like on the ground where I put my feet every single day. There's no way I missed it. Looking for it thoroughly for 2 weeks.
Yeah, when we lived in that haunted apartment, we were having a party, and there's like 30 adults in our apartment, and they're making mixed drinks with the blender and stuff, and then all of a sudden the lid of the blender goes missing. And you've got all these drunk, grown adults turning this house upside down, looking for the lid of the blender, and we couldn't find it anywhere. We even looked in the oven, and it wasn't there. And then, like 2 weeks later, it shows up just sitting on top of the Tupperware in the cupboard.
I think they like to do that as, haha, remember, I'm still here.
They wanted the party to end, I guess.
No more drinks for you.
Now, through your investigations, do you find that these spirits are usually linked to this location because a traumatic event happened there? Or is it just kind of like Kyle's case, or they just kind of wandered in and decided to stick around, or if they found something that works to attach them there? Like, what do you believe is the reason these spirits hang around, if not for a traumatic event taking place?
Well,
Like in Elliot's place.
yeah.
So one of the ones that we did that was a really good one, there was a lot of research, and the homeowner was really good about doing his own research, and we had so much activity there, and throughout the research that he did and we did, come to find out it was an older couple that used to live there that had died. So it seemed that they just liked being there. It wasn't anything traumatic. It wasn't random. It was not random at all. And they just liked it. They liked it when they lived there, and so they stayed.
Yeah, and they like that.
Yeah.
So I have a couple clips that you guys sent us that I'm going to play, and so I'm going to play them, and let's talk about them. So this first one is, I'll play it. Oops, wrong screen. I have 3 screens. Sorry.
So it's going to introduce the new device. This has got an Oculus here. This is going to be our first time using this. We're really excited.
Yeah.
Excited about the Oculus?
So what's kind of going on here?
They're really excited.
Major activity. Like we're just asking it questions, and all our devices are just going crazy in the middle of his bed, in his room.
No electricity in the middle of the bed, so he was
Yeah.
tripping. And he had been getting communications from the spirit by tapping, and he felt like it might have been Morse code. And when our devices started going off and making, we kind of put it together that at points of time they were also going off towards like a Morse code type thing.
Mm-hmm.
And he translated everything that he had gotten through taps through Morse code.
So you guys are investigating. It looks like I saw a bunch of like military medals.
Yeah.
He pulled those out from underneath his haunted bed.
So he didn't know they were there, or
Now he knew that he had them, but he didn't put 2 and 2 together until that night when he got the medals out, and we started having all kinds of activity after he got those medals out.
so this
Because we
person
were
called you
asking him-
because they were having a crazy paranormal experiences in this bedroom.
Yeah, on his bed in particular, he said he had a spring mattress, and in the middle of the night he would feel something twanging the springs in the mattress.
Until he thought it was Morse code.
Yeah, he thought he ran it by some people, and they said it sounds like it's Morse code. So one of the questions
Wow.
that we posed in our video is, who works with Morse code? And Jenna and I both said right away, military. So we started asking, were you in the Marines? Were you in the Air Force? And we just started getting responses after he pulled those medals out, and we finally realized that, yeah, this person was in the service.
So I see you have, what is that, a REM pod?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What, like we were saying in our before we came live, what is that?
So what a REM pod is, it emits its own EMF field.
Uh-huh.
And when something comes into that field and gets close to that antenna, the lights will start to change color and it beeps at you. So if you've got something that's approaching that and breaks that into that field, then that's when it alerts you.
And not only that, I've had success, and I think we have as a team also, with they can light up a particular light for communication. For if you ask them a yes or no question, oh, if it's this, light up the blue light. If it's that, light up the red light. And so you can use it that way. I mean, there's a lot of different things you can do with it, but it's really a good communication tool.
So, and what is this device behind it? I see that there's a camera on it, of course, but what is
Yeah,
this?
it's a camera with an IR light.
So it does infrared. So how
Yes.
does that go back into the camera so that you can see it, or is it something like, what exactly do you catch on infrared?
Well, it's looking at things through different spectrums of light, basically, because we have our regular spectrum of light, and then you have the infrared that you can look through too. And it's supposedly looking through different spectrums of light is supposed to allow you to see different things.
That's cool. So you found it. So he was actually doing Morse code then.
Yes.
So as you did your investigation, he was doing Morse code for you guys?
Yes. And the homeowner was actually able to prove it at the end of that video. Our video is up on YouTube. It's The Haunting of the Saxony. And that video was just absolutely phenomenal. That's probably one of the best investigations we've ever had.
So you guys translated the Morse code
Yeah.
then?
Say again.
I said, so you guys translated the Morse code?
He did, yes.
Elliot, yeah.
What
Yeah,
did it
Elliot
indicate?
translated it.
And it's their,
It was their names,
the husband and
Wow.
wife.
husband and wife.
That-
wow.
Erlene, and I can't remember what his name was,
Yeah.
but her name was really odd.
Yeah, because it's EER.
Erelene or something like that, something odd. And yeah, and then he found a newspaper article that talked about how wasn't the guy a doctor or something, a
Yeah.
homeopathic doctor?
Yeah, he was a journalist student.
Yeah.
That's why he did all this research, is because he was in college studying this, so he was able to do his own research.
I think that's cool that he did Morse code. You guys caught the Morse code, translated the Morse code, and it was their names. I think that's awesome.
Yeah,
That is
super
some-
cool.
That is some cool evidence to have got.
Amazing, amazing.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's cool. That's cool. I dig that. So you guys sent me another one. So what's going on with this one?
I don't know. I'll have to see.
Let's see. Let's see it.
Let's see the clip. Oh, okay. This is when we're setting up the REM pod.
Okay, and this is at Elliot's too.
Yeah, this is also at Elliot's.
Closer that something comes to this antenna,
Oh, I could have played
different
this one.
lights are gonna light up.
That's cool.
So they can make it. So you guys asked. That's what you're talking about, the red and the blue.
Uh
that
huh.
you asked the question. So they can actually force
Yep.
the.
Yeah, we've had that happen. Yep.
They could force the light to go in a direction, or is it as close as you get to it, or?
It's both, actually. The closer they get, the more lights will light up. But we have asked them, okay, if you're a man, light up the red light, and they can light up just the red light. Or if something comes near it when you're not asking a question, it can also light up the red light if it's on that particular side of the REM pod. So yeah, it's really cool that way.
Is that something you guys built, or is that something that you guys that you could order?
No, we ordered that one, but there are people out there that build them. A friend of ours actually, he's always telling me he's going to show me how to build them.
Like I think I was telling you, I'm in the process. I finally have everything down so that I could build the SLS camera.
Yeah.
So I ordered like the USB, and it's actually pretty simple.
We've been wanting one of those so bad.
I found a pretty good video on YouTube because it's like, you need the Connect thing and then another device, and then it's like you have to download like 3 different things, and there it is. So that's my goal, is to bring that on the graveyard thing.
Oh, that would be so.
That would be really
cool.
cool. We would love that.
Yeah.
So I
And we've
ordered
got a new portal that we're needing to try out too. We've only tried it a couple of times and not for very long, but there's enough open clearance out there, so we're not going to disturb anybody in a home or anything like that. So we'll be able to check that out too.
Yeah, there's a bit of a learning curve with that device. So we haven't quite been successful with it yet. So we're just going to keep trying and seeing if we can learn it.
I noticed with the SLS, it's like whenever it picks something up, it always looks like they're dancing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which I think is cool as well, because it looks like they're like, hey, like they're excited or something, giving you like a little dance. And this one says the Copper Queen Hotel.
Oh,
Oh,
Yes.
yes, yeah. This is Billy's
So
room.
let's play
Yeah,
this
this
one.
is Billy's
Billy's room.
room.
Wow, you're doing good, Billy. Look at all these that you're having go off at one time. You have 2.
So who's Billy?
Ooh, look at that. You're doing
A little
so
boy that.
Yeah,
Billy
was
was a
Billy a
little
child?
boy.
Because
Yeah,
he's
Billy was a
child.
little boy that is rumored to have died. His parents worked at the hotel, and I think he drowned like in a creek out back of the hotel, something along those lines. But he's supposed to be a spirit there.
So what kind of questions were you asking him? Because like all that equipment was going bonkers.
It was going bonkers even when we weren't asking questions.
Yeah,
Yeah, he wanted us to make make us known that he is there.
I mean, he's a kid. He's getting attention. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'm sure he was excited that you guys were there.
There's
So-
like a rocking horse in the room and
toys
and
balloons,
toys and
cars.
yeah, it's really cool. It's a cool room. If you go stay there, it's a really cool room. A lot of activity.
We also have motion activated light in there.
Mhm.
And so when we went to sleep, we had the motion activated light on, and then we had some cameras watching that. And you can actually see on the video where the motion activated light is going off from somebody walking by, and you can clearly see that we're all in bed. Nobody's walking around. We're asleep, and it just goes on and off. And it was all night long.
So
Yeah,
I
'cause
noticed that. Oh, go ahead,
Thank
Matt.
you.
I was gonna say I kind of picked up on that because you're kind of interacting with Billy the way I would interact with my 8-month-old. So do you find when you talk to him like interacting like a child with a child's spirit that they're more responsive versus just talking to him like maybe you would talk to an adult?
Yeah, I think so. I think you have to talk to them just like you would normal people. You talk to an adult like an adult, and a child is a child.
Yeah.
If somebody's a jerk, you know.
Yeah, right.
So what kind of questions did you ask Billy when you were on this investigation?
Like, why are you here? Why are you still here? What is there anything, that we can do to help you? Kind of stuff. Just, what did we ask? Do you guys remember kind of what we asked?
I'm trying to
Just
remember.
a lot of like why he was there, and if he was happy if we were here talking to him, if he likes having company, if he's lonely, that kind of stuff. Just general like questions.
What is this device that's right here? Like, it's got the
Oh,
two,
is it that ghost?
Oh
the
yeah,
orange
that's
one?
the
the
two red lights on it.
it's the
What
one
is
that you
it called?
got.
The ghost radar or ghost? No, it's not radar. Ghost
Um,
detector.
Ghost detector.
It's yeah.
Called the ghost detector.
It's called a ghost detector, and I actually picked that up when we were on Jerome. We went on their ghost tour, and then they had one of those, and they were getting a lot of activity on it. And so at the end of the tour, they had some different equipment available for sale, and they had that one. And since they had such good luck with it, we decided to pick one up. And it's really good too. That one, we actually had to turn it off in the middle of the night. It wouldn't shut up. We couldn't sleep. It was flickering and beeping, and we're just like, okay, we get it.
Billy
Go
liked
ahead.
that one a
We're
lot.
turning it off now. We need to sleep.
I can see why a child would like that one, because like it's something that it's beeping, it's making noise, because how especially when it's other people's kids, you try to get the loudest, light blinkingest toy that you can get them to mess with.
It's that one.
That's true.
So you guys got to investigate the Jerome Hotel, then I take it.
Oh yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Yes. That was a tough one to sleep too.
Yeah, the nurse kept on coming in our room, checking up on us.
And we had a double room with like an adjoining bathroom, and the room that I was in was right next to what was the operating room. When it was a hospital, and I kept hearing these noises all night long. I thought it was the elevator. I heard all this clunking and noises and different stuff, and I didn't realize that the operating room was right next to us. And then they were picking up on their side, the nurse coming in and out. I was like, that stupid elevator, all that rattling and beeping with the wind. And Mary Ann's like, no, that elevator is way down the hall.
No,
We're
it's not there.
hearing the elevator here. I was like, well, I wish it would stop because I can't sleep.
So did you guys? I take it. Then you guys stayed in the haunted rooms that they talk
Yeah,
about.
we always ask.
we request a haunted room.
Give us a haunted room. We love it. It's okay.
Because that's on my bucket list, is to go to Jerome to do that, and that's one of the reasons why.
In Jerome.
And it's haunted.
Yes,
the
the whole
room itself
town
is haunted.
One of my first investigations with my first team back in Las Vegas, we did one of the bed and breakfast there, and there was a ghost cat. We kept getting meowing EVPs, and we looked everywhere for a cat. There was no cat, and my team leader, he was like, "Oh, there's no such thing as ghost animals." I'm like, and we had EVPs of meowing. I'm like, there is. And there was something tugging on my shirt. Like there must have been a little kid there, because I was asleep in the morning, and I was trying to sleep, and I kept feeling something persistently tugging on my shirt, like, wake up, wake up, wake up. And then someone came in my room to tell me to get up, and I'm like, oh my gosh, was that you tugging my shirt? And they're like, no, we just came in. So yeah, that was a really cool place too in Jerome. It's just everywhere you go there is haunted.
You guys are the first people I've ever talked to that have said that you've caught an animal EVP.
Yeah.
That's cool. So
Yeah,
you caught it later, like you heard it later. It was just you just heard meow, meow.
Yeah.
Like, where's that darn cat?
We looked everywhere for a cat, and there was no way there was a cat in there. We had the entire bed and breakfast was just us. There was nothing in there.
Wow,
That's cool.
that's kind of cool. I'd like that too.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Hey Mojo, how's it going? Man, you got any questions?
No, I think I've asked them all so far.
Yes.
I mean, I have a lot of questions, but like, because I've never experienced this stuff, so it's more fascinating for me just listening to your experiences and kind of what you guys have gone through. Like, it's crazy to me that you're getting attacked by a ghost, and you're like, "This is so cool. I'm so into this. I want to know more about it, and I'm gonna keep putting myself in these situations." So it's just like I respect it, but at the same time, I'm like, "Oh, I don't know if I could do that." But,
do you believe that it's something that you have to actually like? Because Sam, our co-host, is the same way. He's never really had anything happen to him, and yet there's me, who I could just rattle stuff off forever. Is it something that you feel you have to open yourself up to, or is it something that you believe that you kind of already have the ability there, or what is your kind of thought process on that?
Well, we kind of know when things happen that we kind of had, that we're sensitive and that we sense certain things, and we kind of like zone into that. We're like, oh, okay, like they're contacting us, they're wanting to talk to us, and it is hard at first to be like.
I mean, I personally, when I first started investigating, every time I go on investigation, before we start, I would get nauseous. I get a headache. I feel terrible. And there was a girl on the team that she was a psychic, and she's like, "Well, it's because you're blocking them. It's because you're afraid." I'm like, "I'm not afraid. I'm telling them, talk to me, talk to me." And she's like, "Yeah, but subconsciously you're blocking it because you're a little bit scared." And that relates back to that experience of me being scared that something was at the foot of my bed. And so I really had to learn to open myself up and tell myself, okay, nothing's going to hurt you. You know this, you're fine. And I really had to learn to open myself up to that because I had been scared that one time.
So it could be both. You're already open to it, but you can also open up that part of your subconscious to allow it then.
Yeah, because I didn't know I had any kind of ability. She's like, "Well, you're an empath." I'm like, "Oh, what? What? How? What
did you call me?
What do I do with it?" So it was, yeah, you can have it and not know you have it. And like right now, it's not very strong with me as it was before for whatever reason. So it's just, I think, more practicing of keeping open. But I think when you're around people with those abilities, you can kind of develop them too.
Like, I never heard that term before until I started doing this podcast and talking about my experiences.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like it doesn't happen to me until I'm comfortable somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So it's only like once I'm like, it's somewhere like my house. It's always been places that I live. It's never been like a random place. It seems like once my mind is comfortable in this environment that I'm in, then it seems to open up.
Yep, that's the trick, I think.
I need to try to get it so then we go on these investigations.
Right?
Yeah, I wonder meditations for that.
Yeah,
stuff.
that's what I was gonna say. You can meditate.
Do you think a lot of us have maybe had experiences with the spirit, and we just the logical side of our brain is like looks for a reason to be like, oh, well, that's just this or that's just that, and maybe I have, and I just haven't associated it with that. Like,
yeah, most definitely. Yeah,
See,
most definitely.
now that you said you've caught an animal EVP, I'm definitely allergic to dogs, and so is my wife. Now I want a ghost dog, so at least we can have a dog.
Right?
Have that probably on.
Get
I
a
mean,
labradoodle or a golden doodle. My husband is highly allergic, and I just got a labradoodle a few months ago, and he has no issues.
Yeah, I learned that with a coworker of mine brings his labradoodle in, and I'm totally fine. But with a ghost dog, you don't have to clean up after it.
This is true. I like that idea better too.
You
Okay,
can just do all the fun stuff with it, you know.
Just not good.
So, what was the like besides what got you scared in your apartment, but doing these? What was the craziest thing that happened on one of these investigations that you've done? Like you were just like, wow, like the SOS. That's like a wow moment. But like, was there like something that you were just like, wow, like that just stopped you guys, and you're just like, wow.
Well, when I got that apparition, I mean, that was a wow moment for me. I was super excited. I was running around the whole trailer letting everybody see it. I was like, look what I caught. You know, yeah, I know. Because I had never caught anything like that. I mean, except for when I was attacked. So it was huge and nobody was in that room. And so that was my wow moment. I was like, that is so great. I'm so excited. You guys have any wow moments that you can think of?
Not with these guys specifically, but I've gotten a couple of EVPs that I just went, holy crap. Like I went to the Star of India, and I was talking to the girl on my team, and we had the recorder going, and we were just benignly talking about, oh, do you need this equipment? Do you need that? As we're getting ready to start. And she's asked me, do you want a flashlight? And I said, no, I already have one. And when you play the EVP in between there, it sounds like there's a 3-year-old girl. And she says, I want a flashing light. And, you know, I played that for my husband. He's like, well, how do I know you didn't have a little kid there? I'm like, why would we have a investigation? You know,
it's bring this small child with me overnight.
Mine. And at the mine, I was in charge of taking pictures in this little schoolhouse. And as I'm taking pictures, we get an EVP that says, and it's kind of broken up, but it says, take a picture of me. And
wow.
Mine.
So you said the Star of India? Where's that? What is that?
It's in San Diego. It's an old ship. Ghost Adventures actually filmed there. And what's ironic is we went there before they ever filmed there. But when they did their EVPs that they got, it was the same voice that I got on my EVP. And it's a really old ship. It's not used anymore. They just have it as a museum, and obviously you can go investigate too. And that was mind blowing.
That's cool.
Sam in the chat asked, have you ever received a personal insight from a ghost, or is it more or less just a tourist relationship when you're on one of these investigations?
It sounds like more like a tourist type.
Well, we don't spend a whole lot of time at these locations.
An hour.
Yeah, a few hours at most. So I guess it would almost be like a tourist kind of thing. But with the residential investigations, it's definitely a lot more personal.
Because you know the history behind it.
Yeah, because we do the historical research, and you know, we meet with the family. Sometimes they have kids, sometimes they don't. We've dealt with all kinds of people with different issues, and so that's definitely not a tourist kind of thing.
And I kind of think too that when we're there, we're focused on getting answers for the people and answers about what's there. So we don't really spend a lot of time asking anything that might be relevant to us. I haven't personally had any come through that have been like, oh, well, you know, I have had them say my name though. I did go to the Phelps Dodge Hospital, and I did get quite a few EVPs where they said my name, and I don't know how or why, but that's probably the most insightful one that I had.
That's kind of cool though.
Yeah, it's you wonder, how do you know my name? Did you just hear me? Did you hear the other people calling me by name, or why do you know my name?
Do you guys ever just introduce yourselves though too when you're there?
Always.
Like,
Always, yep.
That's the main thing you do to hopefully get them to open up
And
and
give us their
introduce
name, yeah.
themselves. Yeah, most definitely.
so when you guys do your research, do you ever like? I'm sure you guys Google because it's probably the easiest first thing to do. Do you find that sometimes Google doesn't help, and what other places do you go to try to find information?
Google's very helpful sometimes.
Yeah, Google's actually not the place that I look first when I'm doing the research. I've got the county recorder that I do research on. I can find the land deeds, the house deeds, things like that, and start trying to trace them back through the ownership, using the address and then using the names that I find associated with them. State tax records are good for finding out who owns what property. So there's a few different government sites that I'm able to access for free that I'm able to use to do the research.
Because like that's where I find like like okay, there's a few spirits in my house. The problem is when you Google an address, just nothing helpful at all ever comes up.
Yeah.
No.
It's only helpful for like the well-known places, like the hotels and stuff. You can find stuff about that, but as far as residentials, no.
Yeah, it's like when I was trying to do a lot of research on one of my old apartments, the one where the guy, told my brother-in-law to leave and that would scream up and down the hallway, like nothing comes up, and I wish I could figure out something, and I've always just come up with dead ends. The only time I've ever gotten a confirmation of what it was, I lived in one place, and the people that owned it was like these cottages and it was on this big piece of land, and they had all these little cottages and these little like military style apartment buildings in the back, and they had bought it from the original owner. So I would see this little old lady scowling at me when like in the mornings, and finally one day we were having a couple drinks with the owners, and I was like, I'm going to ask you something. I waited till you had a few drinks in you so that it was okay, but I was like, the original owner, did she look like this? And I described her, and they were like, how did you know that? And I was like, well, I see her. And they had built, she was a short lady, so they had built the house to like there was places in the house where I couldn't even lean up against the wall because the house was shorter than I was. And they were just like, I was like, it's all right, it's not a big deal, I was just asking. They were just like mind blown. And that's one of the few times I've ever had like confirmation of what I was seeing was actually like attached to why it was attached to that place.
Yeah, and spirits can be attached to things too, as well as people. It's not just necessarily a place.
Like I wonder that too, because like Matt and I collect comic books. Like as soon as we're done here, we're gonna go do a comic book podcast. And I wonder that because you're always buying stuff, and you're buying 50-year, 60-year-old comics, and I've always wondered, is one of these attached to like this chunk of books that I bought, or
It could be,
your backstory of what you're buying. And like I'm not an antique person, I don't have like antiques in my house. So I always wondered, I wonder if one of these ghosts are mad that I have their comics.
Yeah, I always say, if you go into an antique store and something just keeps telling you to buy it, don't buy it. I come in contact with 2 haunted items that were from antique stores, and yeah, not good. One of them ended up going to John Zappis, and the other one is in Zach's museum in Las Vegas because we couldn't deal with them anymore.
That is great advice because most times when you're like, that thing's telling me to buy it, I should buy it.
Yeah.
No.
In an antique store, I would probably try to
Stay
avoid
away.
that.
For someone who might be watching this podcast and maybe interested in reaching out to you, what can you go through like what your like an experience to be like if you just got called out to investigate a residence, kind of like what your procedure is setting up and all that?
Where they can find you and everything.
Well, we're all over social media. We're on TikTok now. We're on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. We're everywhere. Cahal Crew Paranormal.
And then, so you do the initial.
So yeah, I have like an interview that I conduct over the phone. Before the pandemic, I used to go to the location and actually conduct this interview in person. So I could walk around the location, kind of do some baseline readings, get an idea for where the hot spots were, and to make sure that it was going to be a safe location for us to investigate. And since COVID, all of that's changed. I have to do it over the phone now. And it's made it a lot more difficult for me to vet out some of the, I hate to say it, but some of the crazies, because they are out there.
Yeah.
Or the trolls that just want to troll you or
Yeah.
don't believe what you're doing.
And you come across that often?
We had one.
That sounds like a yes to me.
Yeah, with all that hesitation
We
there.
had one really interesting one.
And
Yeah.
Well, that's an
in
understatement.
the chat, I just posted a link to your guys' Facebook group.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
So, and then when I upload this, I'll do the same thing. So,
Oh, nice.
Awesome.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
so you guys can reach out to them on Facebook, I guess TikTok. It's, I guess, wherever, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, we're everywhere.
So that's great. So on that note, I thank you guys for taking the time to hang out with us. It was a lot of fun.
It was fun. Thanks for
Yeah, I've
having
never
us.
been done a
Yeah.
podcast before. It's cool.
So you guys remember to like and subscribe to the show. If you guys are interested in the paranormal, reach out to them. I'll have links, easy to Google. And on that note, you guys have a great Saturday and enjoy the rest of your weekend.
You ever
And we're done. Piece of cake.
All
Oh, no,
right.
we're not. We're still live. Hold on. I don't usually drive this ship.